Welcome to the Spirit Gathering teleconference. Today is March 16th, 2021, and my name is Sally Ekaireb. Our topic is perceiving divine order in these turbulent times. We are so glad that you've joined us this evening. We are recording this call so that people who could not be here tonight can listen in. Please press either your phone's mute button or *6 to mute your line. It keeps the line quiet. In order to unmute your line to share later in the program, you again press *6 or your mute button in order to speak. This evening we are going to use and meet as a circle-style council, and that is a conversational council where you may speak at any time, only taking care to let the current speaker finish before you begin. Let's take a moment now to get settled, to center ourselves, to let go of the events of this day, and begin to enter the deeper, sacred space within ourselves. Now let us imagine that we are joining together, sacred heart to sacred heart, with every other person on this call right now. And now let us imagine that we are joining together in a circle with a light or flame or fire in the center. Imagine a spoke of light coming from the center of the circle to your heart, and for each person on the call tonight or listening in after. Now we are connected, sacred heart to sacred heart. Now let us set our intentions. We listen to one another with compassion and curiosity. We ask for what we need and offer what we can. We deepen our connection with one another and the divine. May this sharing serve us, our communities, and the planet. And so it is. Last March, as lockdown began, I decided to adopt a dog so that I would have a companion during the pandemic. I realized that COVID-19 was not going to be a situation that ends in a few months, and I anticipated a long-term disturbance similar to the influenza of 1918. This past year would have been so much more challenging if I did not have my four-legged friend and companion, Kobe. He has brought so much joy and laughter into my world, even when life circumstances were upsetting or stressful. Kobe has been a model for living in the present and finding delight in the simplest things, like leaves blowing in the wind that he delights chasing and catching in his mouth. He has taught me many lessons about being in the now, letting go of my persistent thoughts and worries, and accepting the perfection of my present circumstances. When I do this, I am better able to shift my perspective to a more encompassing consciousness, holding this expanded vision I embrace trust in the all that is and sense a divine order that enfolds me into a greater totality. I know many of you on this call have or have had a special relationship with a dog or cat. We often find they can be our spiritual teachers if we allow this. Eckhart Tolle has written the book, Guardians of Being, Spiritual Teachings from Our Dogs and Cats. And I would like to read some excerpts from this book to set the foundation for our program this evening. True happiness is found in simple, seemingly unremarkable things. But to be aware of little quiet things, you need to be quiet inside. A high degree of alertness is required. Be still, look, listen, be present. Bring awareness to the many subtle sounds of nature. The rustling of leaves in the wind. Raindrops falling. The humming of an insect. The first bird song at dawn. Give yourself completely to the act of listening. Beyond the sounds, there is something greater, a sacredness that cannot be understood through thought. Look at a tree, a flower, a plant. Let your awareness rest upon it. How still it is, how deeply rooted in being. Allow nature to teach you stillness. Everything natural, every flower, tree, and animal has important lessons to teach us if we would only listen. Stop, look, and listen. Just watching an animal closely can take you out of your mind and bring you into the present moment, which is where the animal lives all the time, surrendered to life. It's so wonderful to watch an animal because an animal has no opinion about itself. It is. That's why the dog is so joyful and why the cat purrs. When you pet a dog or listen to a cat purring, thinking may subside for a moment and a space of stillness arises within you, a doorway into being. Or in Mr. Kobe's case, playfulness. So, the vital function that pets fulfill in this world hasn't been fully recognized. They keep millions of people sane. They have become guardians of being. Most of us live in a world of mental abstraction, conceptualization, and image making, a world of thought. We are immersed in a continuous stream of mental noise. It seems that we can't stop thinking. Just as the dog loves to chew bones, the human mind loves its problems. We get lost in doing, thinking, remembering, anticipating. Lost in a maze of complexity and a world of problems. Nature can show us the way home, the way out of the prison of our own minds. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Then become as alert as a cat watching a mouse hole. You may find that as long as you are absolutely alert, the next thought does not arise. I have lived with many Zen masters, all of them cats. Millions of people who otherwise would be completely lost in their minds and in endless past and future concerns are taken back by their dog or cat into the present moment again and again and reminded of the joy of being. We have forgotten what rocks, plants, and animals still know. We have forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, to be where life is, here and now. Before we continue, does anyone want to share anything about the spiritual teachings they have received from a special pet or from spending time in nature? If so, you can unmute and share with us.
This is Veronica. About 10 years ago, I was desperately trying to meditate, incapable of getting into any meditation, incapable. My internal thoughts would whirl, and I couldn't get past 15 seconds. So I began working meditation with a cooking timer to build 10 seconds at a time. And one day I opened my eyes, and there was my cat Simba sitting, his back to me in a full lion position. And he telepathed to me the moment of internal silence. It was the most amazing experience. It lasted a flick of a second, but he had taught me where that space was. And then he sat up, shook out, turned around, sat in a full sat, and looked at me. And that was that. And after that, I became aware when I'm doing work, whether it's remote work, in a moment work, in the presence of someone, all of my cats will start a formation to align and change the direction of the chi in the room and the chi of the person I'm working with, or the chi within myself, to help guide it and heal it. Or if one of them is sick, they will all, including the dog, will come together and tend to the needs of the other by the use of the wonderful, wonderful energy and telepathy. I put down the stick.
Thank you.
Catherine, picking up the stick. A couple of years ago, I had gone to a movie premiere of a film called To Be of Service. And I have the little card from the movie that I saved. I just want to read this for a second. To be of service, veterans with PTSD and their service dogs, the bond that heals. From Oscar-nominated director John Aronson, To Be of Service explores how war veterans suffering from PTSD are paired with a service dog to help them regain their lives. Service dogs offer a miraculous ray of hope in helping them come back to an independent, feeling life. So the movie itself was quite astonishing and eye-opening and moving, but the best part was that at the screening, one of the service dogs was there, and we were allowed to greet and meet the service dog. It was really, really astonishing. Putting down the stick.
Thank you. So this past year has been challenging for most of us. Our lives have been disrupted and new routines have been implemented. The ongoing threat of COVID-19 has awakened fears about health, our safety, and our financial stability. Social and political polarity has intensified the disharmony in many communities and extended to the world at large. In this unfolding of life, we have a choice. We can be drawn into the fear, the anger, or a myriad of other thoughts and emotions, or we can shift our perception and experience life with the trust that all is in divine order. Holding this perspective allows one to be free to live in a state of grace. Now I would like to take time for us to use meditation to unite our energy and expand our experience of being in flow and alignment with the greater oneness. We will do this in 3 segments. First, we will take about maybe 10 minutes to focus our attention on any situation in our life that has been of immediate concern. For example, I have been very preoccupied with my next-door neighbor petitioning to build a kennel less than 100 yards from my house. This situation has been going on for well over a year, but in January the hearing began, and the fear, anger, and uncontrollable thoughts became intense. While I tried to take positive actions and let go of the results, I often found myself rehearsing arguments to convince the board that they should rule in our favor. More nights than not, I awoke dreaming about these testimonies and then could not fall back asleep. Ultimately, I realized that I could keep struggling with this destructive behavior, or I could shift my perspective. Rejecting the belief that I had to control, manipulate, and conquer the situation, I adopted the belief that everything is in divine order, for Spirit is always present and in control. Ultimately, an outcome that will be to the greatest benefit for all will be revealed. At the hearing, I need only speak the truth and respond to what is called for. With this revelation, my body and mind relaxed, and emotionally, I gave a sigh of relief. No matter the outcome, it would be good. On the date of the hearing, the applicant withdrew her permit request rather than have it denied. Now my neighbors and I are waiting to see if she files again for the permit or if she decides to sell the property. I continue to perceive that all is in divine order, and reject the fear-based possibilities that depict a lesser outcome. So if you do not have a personal situation that has been troubling you, feel free to focus in on my kennel situation. So now to begin, we will take a few minutes to silently explore and reflect on the thoughts and feelings that do not serve us. Pick any personal situation that you choose. And as you identify these thoughts, identify them and let them go. Take the energy of these worries and visually plant them at the base of your favorite tree or pour them into a large body of water. I will let you know when we are ready to proceed to the next stage. Now, silently repeat after me as I evoke the fourfold invocation so that we can shift our focus on the situation and feel into divine order, the flow and alignment that is always present. It may take a few minutes to reach the silence, the expansive state, and the higher flows of energy. That is fine. I will call us back to complete this segment. So first, connect with yourself, that point of inner balance, the place you know as home. Connect too with the physical core of the earth, and then connect with the trio of angels, guides, teachers, those that are most meaning to you in that capacity. And from that space of connection, say to yourself, I call forth divine love and light. I open to divine love and light. I receive divine love and light. I am divine love and light here and now. And let us be in this with our situation for a few minutes. Good. And now that we are in the energies, let's repeat the same process, but let's take a larger issue, something that affects more than your personal life, something that concerns you about what is happening in a community. It could be your work community, the city, or the state you live in. Again, acknowledge the thoughts and worries that operate from the mind when you typically think about this situation, and release them to nurture a tree or a body of water. Let's take a moment to do that release. Now silently repeat after me as I evoke the fourfold invocation so that we can shift our focus on the situation and feel into the ever-present divine order, the sense, the flow, and alignment. Then reflect again on the situation while consciously being in tune with the flow and alignment of divine order, and run the energy that comes to you. I will mind the time. So we connect with ourselves and that point of inner balance, the place we know is home. Connect too with the physical core of the earth. Then connect with the trio of angels, guides, or teachers. And with that connection, say to yourself, I call forth the light. I call forth divine love and light. I open to divine love and light. I receive divine love and light. I am divine love and light here and now. for our third segment, I would like to repeat the same process, but let's take an even larger issue, something that affects a huge community. It could be the political polarities of these times, racial and other social inequalities, COVID-19, or perhaps climate change and global warming. Again, we will identify the thoughts and worries that typically operate in our mental constructs about these issues and release their energy to nurture a tree or a body of water. And now we connect with that place that we know as a deeper home, connecting to with the physical core of the earth and the trio of angels, guides, and teachers. And from that space of connection, repeat silently, I call forth divine love and light. I open to divine love and light. I receive divine love and light. I am divine love and light here and now. Thank you for that beautiful space and flow of energy. As people come back, if anyone would like to share anything that they realized or experienced during this meditation, wonderful. But please take your time in coming back.
This is Catherine picking up the stick. So many wonderful ideas and so many layers coming from this meditation. To pick one or two would be really, really hard. I'd like to focus on how you mentioned that happiness is basically unremarkable, very small acts, very stillness, the act of listening, being beyond thought, and the idea of taking our troubles and planting them under a favorite tree or putting them into a pond or into a river is resonating really strongly with me. I have a strong connection with Saint Teresa, the little flower, who wrote a wonderful book called The Story of a Soul, which is her autobiography, where she says that what matters is not great deeds, but great love. And she has promised that after her death, she will be still connecting with people in the world and helping them and inspiring them. And her method is to send a shower of roses. And on my way to the park and my way back to home, there's this wonderful giant rose bush that one day I noticed was flowering tremendously. And I said, here's St. Teresa connecting with us. We're seeing her ray here on earth. And that's where I'm going to take these issues, take my troubles, take my problems, and that's where I'm going to leave them at the foot of this roses for St. Teresa, putting down the stick.
Okay, I see that we're pretty much at the checkout time. So I'd like to invite each person to briefly comment on what will stay in their heart and mind as we leave this gathering this evening.
Thank you, Sally. This is Diane, and I appreciate the lovely space that you helped to create and everyone on the call. And I'm leaving with spaciousness. Thank you.
Thomas here. Mine is gratitude. Thank you.
This is Veronica, and this meditation made me very aware of how open I am to the embracing of love and light, but what a resistance is going on within me to trust and to let go of the burdens that I have been carrying so long. Thank you. I found a peace and a journey to take this week. Thank you, Sam. I put down the stick.
This is Ken, and I am in a place of peace. And thank you for leading us through this.
This is Catherine checking out. Thank you, Sally. It was wonderful. Thank you, Diane, Thomas, Veronica, and for being a part of this. I'm leaving with the word inspiration. I am complete.
Thank you. And I think my word would really be a unity with spirit, with the group, and really a unity of all of these issues that seem to just flow and merge into one another into a greater sense. So I'd like to thank you for joining us for the Spirit Gathering teleconference. The call may be archived as an MP3 at www.tzaddi.org. Phone access for the recording of this call is available until next month's call. For playback of the recording, dial 712-432-1085. The access code is 990322 and the pound sign. We hope you'll join us for the next Spirit Gathering on April. And actually, Diane, you've got to help me with this. It's the third Tuesday in April, which is the 22nd? The 20th. Yes. Okay, so it will be April 20, 2021. These calls are hosted by Tzaddi, an interspiritual metaphysical organization founded in California in 1964. Tzaddi welcomes, nurtures, and supports people in celebrating and more directly experiencing their relationship with the loving presence of the divine. Our programs are open to people of any race, color, or national or ethnic origin. Visit www.tzaddi.org to learn more, including a full calendar of events hosted by Tzaddi members. We will close now with thanks and a blessing. Thanks to Tzaddi founders Amy Keyes and Dorothy Blackmere. Thanks to all of you who have been part of our community tonight. And thanks to the divine who support us always, even when we're not aware of it. And Thomas, will you please give us the blessing this evening?
May the divine bless you and keep you. May the divine make its face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the divine uplift its countenance within you and give you peace.
Thank you. And I wish everyone a good night.